Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to our patch note reading for patch 5.01. I almost did my Mondays with Mr. Happy intro. That was really awkward, but we're going to keep that in. So, patch 5.01 is the first minor patch after the release of the expansion. It includes the normal mode difficulty of Eden, as well as a few things here and there. A lot of people were expecting some major balance changes in 5.01. Based on the previous expansions, the 01 changes were usually very minor. They were usually band-aids to problems such as enmity or minor potency or effect durations, and they even make note of that in the patch notes here. But let's just talk about that when we get to it, okay? Patch 5.01, the big thing is definitely going to be Eden Normal, which is, for the first tier of Eden is being called Eden's Gate. So as we scroll down real quick, that's going to be the first thing you see. Of course, we got Thancred, we got Odeon J. Some of our friends are going to be coming along for a ride out into the White Abyss. We get the name of a few quests here. Of course, you do have to have actually finished the Shadowbringers 5.0 main scenario quest, and then to get to the second quest, which will actually unlock the first encounter in normal mode, you of course need to have done the first quest. All the rest of it is shrouded in question mark, question mark, question mark, all the way down. Rest of it will be a mystery. I will be streaming Eden normal mode, and then of course we will be creating a few quick guides for people going into the duty finder, so that way you have the best time humanly possible for these raids. New Orchestrion roles have been added. Now it says 2.x and 5.x. Weird that it leaves out 3 and 4, because at the top of these patch notes they always designate that certain adjustments will, if it lists them, it requires you know, specific expansions. So wondering if that means it'll be a new 2.x theme and a new 5.x theme. I don't really know. I don't actually pay attention to the Orchestrion role section, but I'm assuming Eden's Orchestrion roles is basically what it's referring to, which I'm hoping are Final Fantasy VIII themed. Really hoping they use very liberally some Final Fantasy VIII music for that, because say what you will about Final Fantasy VIII, but it's OST top quality Final Fantasy OST. This is where people are probably a little bit disappointed when it comes to patch 5.01, and why I made sure to mention that there were very minor balance changes likely in 5.01. Simply, they improved the AoE MP in dungeons for 2 of the healers, because White Mage did not need any help whatsoever. Art of War and Gravity both had their MP cost equalized to 600 to match Holy. Honestly, I'd still like to see some changes to those skills, but they even make mention at the bottom here that the 5.01 changes only include adjustments to parameters such as potency and effect duration, and that further changes are planned for 5.05. The 0.05 usually has, again, not super major, not like warrior identity changing level changes in the 0.05, but usually is a lot more indicative of, I guess, intended performance for the first raid. And so I'd expect more adjustments for the healers. I'd expect a handful of adjustments for quite a few of the other jobs. I know for my dancer, there's a couple of adjustments I'd like to see in particular, but we'll be doing a separate video on that. One change here for Dragoon, slight quality of life improvement, is disembowel, increasing the duration up to 30 seconds so that you don't lose disembowel if you lose a single GCD due to a mechanic or uptime. Still curious as to why the AoE rotation doesn't extend disembowel. I get that it extends Blood of the Dragon, but still very surprised to not see that included here. But again, minor changes. We'll keep an eye out for a lot more stuff in 5.05. Moving on to the next part, sound effects for certain Gunbreaker actions have been adjusted. That was actually a major thing I saw people asking, and Soken takes people's responses to sound effects very seriously. I heard people saying it just didn't feel impactful enough, so now really curious to hear the new Gunbreaker sound effects going into 5.01. Quick little refresh of Eden's Gate, which again is the normal mode. It will require an average item level of 425. That is completely normal compared to the other normal mode raids, of it being about 25 item levels below the item level of the gear it will drop. For those of you who haven't been around nearly as long and are kind of new to Final Fantasy XIV with Shadowbringers, you know, the game is very much set patterns where we can generally predict the required item levels and the item level rewards of a lot of different content. Without even having the information available in the patch notes, I can almost guarantee you that it's 450 left side and 450 right side. A second ring option will definitely be good for those of us who just have the Innocence ring and the Tombstone ring. But there you go. Reaffirmation for anyone newer. That is the minimum item level, and I'm telling you right now, I am almost certain it'll be an item level 450 drop. I'll look like a complete idiot if it's not, but I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. Anyway, moving on, just reminds you that to actually enter the first encounter, deploy the core will be the first quest, and each subsequent quest usually unlocks a new one of the raids. Now, normal mode raids do not drop actual pieces of loot. Normal mode raids drop tokens that you exchange for loot. You can obtain 1 token per week from each encounter, and there are 4 encounters in total. As you can see here, for the headpiece, for example, you need 2 helms of early antiquity, for the body piece, for armors of early antiquity, and so on and so forth. Now, I could probably go through what all the loot tables will probably look like. We know from a previous interview that the armors of early antiquity, which were previously known as shafts, giggity, will probably be available in more than a single encounter. In fact, I'm sure data miners have already, discovered that it's probably available from the 3rd fight as well. That being said, just know to collect this stuff, take it to the NPC Gul Gul in Amarang or Yal Yal in Yulmore. Oh, saying that was rough. And you can go to either of those NPCs and exchange them for the various pieces after you've obtained them for the week. There is also a weekly item you get from defeating the 4th fight in Eden's Gate, which is the Sepulture on normal mode. That is a blade of early antiquity, and after getting enough of those, you can exchange them for a lightweight tombstone, which can be used to buy a tombstone weapon later on in the patch. We'll probably be going over that a little bit more when the weekly cap tombstones are available, as well as the Savage Raids 2 weeks from today. The names of all 4 of the normal modes: available in Duty Roulette Mentor, available in Duty Roulette Normal, Resurrection, Descent, Inundation, and Sepulture are all 4 names of the 1st tier of Eden's Gate. Also, 425 now to queue for Mentor Roulette, in case you were wondering. A few PvP adjustments, Dancer nerfs for PvP across the board, which doesn't surprise me what I've been seeing people say about Dancer inside PvP. And also Adrenaline Rush, some slight nerfs to both Comedier and Terminal Velocity. This looks to be the Eden set right here. It's pretty good looking stuff, fairly standard stuff for Final Fantasy XIV in particular. Nothing for me personally to write home about. Big fan of the tank armor, actually. Just a personal note, I actually am a pretty big fan of that. They won't actually list the items in the patch notes, but they're probably already in the database that's available on the website. And new minions have been added, probably a minion in the 4th tier of Eden. They normally have a reward like that for the final fight, one that drops every time. New achievements, additions to auto-translate, new music. The volume of the title screen music has been increased. Okay. Character creation text for both Helions of the Lost and have been updated to clarify Hrothgar lore. Okay. And then a bunch of resolved issues. Like I said, nothing too major here. I don't see anything. Is anything about certain other stuff? Oh yeah, there's like charged actions not working. The Red Mage thing where sometimes Verflare and Verholy would take over the action slots even though you weren't a high enough level to use them. Play would sometimes not take effect. I've heard people say that. Certain effects not, certain quests not actually being completed. Whispering Dawn would not take effect under certain conditions. Yeah, I've seen all of these things occur at least once or twice. Except for the PvP ones, which I haven't seen anything occur in all honesty. That's okay. That's a thing. The Fallen Tree is worth like 300 gil, so that's a hell of a priority they have there. And then a few display issues, some with like Hrothgar's riding the Pegasus mount, I can see right there. But quite a few adjustments. Japanese text in the level 70 Black Mage quest. Max 64-bit application. Oh, that's nice that they try. And then there's other stuff as well, and there's a couple of known issues down here at the bottom, but nothing too major. Someone's saying they did fix Vieira voices. I guess I'll just do a quick... Oh, yeah, there you go. An issue where in the correct audio for Vieira voices 7 and 9 did not play while in combat. All right. Well, I'd heard people talking about that and memeing on voice 7 in particular a lot, so it's a good change to have. But otherwise, that's it for patch 5.01. 2 weeks from now, we will be getting our weekly capped tombstone of Phantasmagoria tombstones, which you'll be able to obtain 450 of per week. And we'll also be obtaining the Savage Raid, which will be the same fights that we encounter today with the normal mode, but they will be to a much higher difficulty with their own different set of loot rules, which we know have also changed quite substantially from the way they have been the last 2 expansions. We'll also probably be getting some new recipes that will include new crafted gear, as well as new food, probably not new pots. I'd be very surprised to see anything above our current tinctures made available, and of course, more balance adjustments. So keep an eye out for a patch video for that in a couple of weeks, but for now, I have a waiting room to attend to when it comes to patch 5.01. Going to be streaming it all day from right when the servers go up, which hopefully at 2 a.m. instead of 3 a.m. for us Pacific Standard Time people. Fingers crossed I don't have to be in the waiting room for 2 hours with my stream, as much as I love all of them. I'd like to play the game. Anyway, with that, I'll finish up this YouTube recording, get back to my Twitch stream. Thank you all for watching on YouTube. Be on the lookout for Eden normal mode guides, as well as a few other things that are going to be popping up this week. I will see all of you for State of the Realm, which will be at 4 p.m. Pacific on Tuesday, where we will be discussing the lore behind our initial reveal of Eden and any lore we might have missed in last week's spoiler cast. I'll see all of you in the next video, and until then,